Our next speaker is Megan Magdalene. Is that correct?
Hello, Council.
She'll be followed by Jasper Moore. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you, Megan.
Good evening, Council, and thank you. And thank you to Mr. Greenwell here for having, I think, showing courage to initiate a debate that's turned out to be a little heated here tonight. But thank you, Mr. Greenwell, for opening up the debate in the community. And I think even though it's clear there's not agreement, it's a positive thing to see it come out and to see people begin to speak about where they see the arguments. And so I hope that we can continue to have discussion. I would say that it doesn't look like you have perhaps the support, Mr. Greenwell, to pass this resolution. But I heard you say earlier today that you're actually interested in furthering debate. And so I can just support you for that effort. And I will say that a lot of what's motivated me to come before you in Council several times now is the fact that I'm aware, because I've been down to our new courthouse, I'm aware that that there are a lot of people being prosecuted and a lot of people sent to prison here in our county over possession and use of cannabis, whereas the whole national agenda is looking like actually moving away from prosecution and towards a more compassionate and let's say permissive use for adults to make their own decisions when it comes to use of cannabis, which has been said already, it's no longer defined by the community at large as a dangerous drug, has not been for some time, and now the American Medical Association is on board with that same discussion, and we're going to see the American Medical Association move away from scheduling it as a dangerous drug. My concern then, I'm aware that beep is going to go soon. My concern then is about what is happening down at the courthouse, the mandatory sentencing that judges are giving out. They're very harsh and they're causing a lot of pain in our community. So I thought it was interesting that there was a block of prosecution that came down against your resolution, but it just shows that we need a bit more discussion about what is justice and how can we see justice served here in our community. So I thank you for giving this your attention tonight.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Okay, our next speaker is Jasper Moore. He'll be followed by, I believe it's Muse Ruggles.
Aloha, Jasper Moore. Still getting used to our new setting. I'm not sure if I like it over here. Kind of liked it over at Ben Franklin. I don't know how much we paid for these, but anyway. West Coast Leaf. It's been said quite a bit tonight. American Medical Association now recognizes medical marijuana. Okay, interesting. Here's a whole paper. Here's a whole paper full of interesting marijuana news. Well, I found this one particularly interesting. Soaring marijuana arrest rates show no effect on use. The most comprehensive collection of national data on marijuana arrests, penalties, and usage was released this week by John Getman, Adjunct Assistant Professor in Criminal Justice at the Shenandoah University in Winchester, Virginia. The detailed report shows that harsh penalties and aggressive law enforcement have essentially no effect on cannabis use. Then why are our police so interested in continuing with this program to keep it illegal? I am astounded by it. I cannot figure out why they would continue this when all of the statistics across the country show that this has no effect. Portugal, amazing what's happened over there. Portugal, a living laboratory for drug reform. Portugal's decision to decriminalize drug possession, now that's all drugs, for personal use in 2001 has proved to be a wise one. So far, the data show a decrease in consumption and no adverse effects on drug usage rates, and in some cases, rates in Portugal remain among the lowest in Europe. I mean, this is going around the world, this discussion, and are we going to sit here in Hilo and still believe that we're isolated, that somehow this isn't going to get around to the rest of the community, that the rest of the world is talking about decriminalizing, making it legal, finding that none of these things that the police department is saying are true, that the prosecution is feeding a for-profit criminal judiciary system? These people are not well. They need help. Our prosecutors need to see doctors, psychiatric doctors. They need help. They're not well people. They are tearing people's lives apart with what is happening over drugs at the courthouse. Children crying, motherless, fathers being sent away to prison. 30 seconds, yeah. Well, it's wrong. And we need to make it legal. And it's only money and ego that would keep it from becoming legal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Our next speaker is Mr. Ruggles, and
Mike Ruggles, because my son's speaking too.
yes, he will be the couple people after.
Okay.
Our next speaker is Jason Nafziger. Go ahead, Mr. Ruggles.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. My name is Mike Ruggles. I'm here on part of the Alternative Pain Management Club. It's the first medical marijuana club. I started here in Hilo out of desperation because they've legislatively blocked us. They've been trying to fix the medical marijuana law for over 10 years here in the state, and the governor's vetoed it every year. Now this year they overrode the veto and she refused to fund it. Because of that, I can tell you in the last 6 months, we just got the police report, 230 people busted in the last 6 months for marijuana, even though it's supposed to be the lowest priority. If you add that up at $50,000 a prosecution and $50,000 a year, which is what it costs to house them, that's $30 million we've spent in the last 6 months busting people going totally against the lowest initiative. We can't afford to do this. They already said the county's $100 million in the hole. That just happens to be what it costs to build the courthouse, which happens to be the biggest building in Hilo. Let's see, what else? They're saying timing is everything. I believe you said that, and I agree with you. Timing is everything. It's time to prioritize